important is in effect. It's been well known that, of course, from the beginning of 2017, we began construction of the Lagos-Ibadan rail line, which is phase one of the larger Lagos-Ibadan to Kano rail line, moving from Ibadan through, Idoyi into Ilorin, from Ilorin into Mina, from Mina into Kaduna, and of course Abuja links already with Kaduna, then up to Kano, from Kaduna to Kano. So in effect, we have just approved, the Federal Executive Council on Wednesday approved a $1.96 billion extension of the existing, of the already approved Lagos-Ibadan to Kano rail line. Now, the import of that to the country, two really major features. One is, of course, it provides another means of linking more northern states and communities by high-speed rail line, obviously for logistics purposes, moving freight and cargo, not just agricultural products, but several other products, particularly coming at a time when the Ajaokuta to Kaduna to Kano gas pipeline is being built up through the axis. What you're going to have is you're going to have massive industrialization all across. That's the phase one of the larger, and the reason why I'm mentioning this in this context is because it's important to note. I understand. Yeah, okay. And so that's going to be phase one of the Trans-Saharan gas pipeline, and that's going to obviously involve the evolution and establishment of major new gas allied industries all across the region. Now, so for us, it's going to link Kano, Jigawa, and Katsina State before moving up into Maradi, Niger Republic. And many people, much of the analysis I have heard, which is faulty, is the notion that this is somehow a means to just create some sort of very comfortable mode of.
He is confident that the governorship election there will record more successes.
It will remain neutral, will remain professional, and that nothing but the votes cast by the Ondo people will determine who becomes the next governor of Ondo State. Engage with the security agencies, engage with all stakeholders and actors to ensure that this process is as seamless or even more so than what we experienced in Edo. We continue to work with the police, but help us in the media to continue to urge the National Assembly in particular for the enactment of the enabling legislation to create the Electoral Offences Commission and Tribunal. Daily, we urged, configured and chartered candidates for Edo. We are right now urging
Touch Communications, your best companion in infotainment.
Good afternoon, Nigerians. Good afternoon, our listeners all over the world. You're welcome to Straight Talk. My name is David Lucas. You are watching us on www.touchradio.com.ng. We are also streaming live at Touch Communications. Welcome once again. You are welcome. The first tape you heard was the voice of Ajuri Ngalale. Ajuri Ngalale happens to be the media assistant in the presidency, and there he was talking about the Niger Railway project, which the federal government just approved, and very soon they want to embark on the project. But a lot of people have been saying things that are not too palatable, because one, they believe that the federal government is just going on a wastage spree. And aside that, if Nigeria should link Niger Republic, what economic value do we, stand to gain from Niger? Because like Maradi, I've been to Maradi so many times in Niger Republic, just after Libya border, and that place is like a virgin land. There's nothing, and it happens to be the second biggest, city or state in Niger Republic. So that project, I personally don't believe is going to bring out something, worth it. And the second voice you heard was that of the INEC chairman. It was talking about what Nigerians should expect from the Ondo election coming up October 10. I'll be right back just after this timeout.
Touch Communications, your best companion in infotainment.
Welcome back. We are going to be looking at a few stories today, and I have a lot of great guests that are joining me in the program today. All the way from Texas in the US, I have Mr. Osareti Ojeduma. Is joining me from all the way from Texas in the United States of America. And also Ken Owens, I think is on now. He too is joining me. And I'm still expecting two other analysts to join me. I'm expecting Becky from Turkey and also Mike Ewart from Benin City. Mr. Owens, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Oh, you're welcome. Welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, let's quickly go to what we have for today. Now, let's first look at the aftermath of the Edo election. Now, for me, I have the big winner and also the big loser. In that election, I think my own big winner in that election happens to be the Oba of Benin. Because what he did, even before the election, on this program, I remember that I played the tape, when he gathered the big wigs, in Edo politics to his palace, and he had to broker peace, amongst the four gladiators, talking of the governor is Shuaibu, that is the deputy, Izeyamu, and also Oshomole. And at the end of the day, they all agreed, to sheathe their swords, and they gave the Oba their words that there won't be any trouble again. And thank God, the election came and went, smoothly. But like I said, my own winner happens to be the Oba of Benin, Oba Ewari II, because of the peace, meeting which he had with those gladiators. And I think it was based on what the Oba did that made the National Peace Committee, headed by former head of state Abdul Salam, Abaka, to also gather his team, to come down to Benin and broker peace, where the peace accord, was signed. And the man even said so, because when they went to the Oba's palace, to visit the Oba, he said it was based on what the Oba did that made them also to, gather themselves and come to Benin City. And my loser, the big loser, according to my own stake, is Adams Oshiomhole. Oshiomhole is the big loser in that election. Why? Because this man, even before the election, you saw all he did. The kangaroo, committee that he brought, to Benin City, and they came up with their own, mathematics, saying the governor, was not, qualified to contest in the election. That was what prompted the governor, to shift to PDP. And even before then, Oshiomhole, while he was the national chairman of APC, had done so many things, the way he was handling the party, he was handling the party as if the party belongs to him, like the party was his property. And I think Oshomole did not see the handwriting. It was so clear that he's gradually digging his own grave, and eventually that was what happened. So don't let us waste much time on that. I just wanted to listen to a tape, where the APC, in Edo State, gave their words and had to thank Obaseki, and
All Progressive Congress, Edo State, congratulatory message. We join President Muhammadu Buhari and the National Caretaker Committee of our great party to congratulate Governor Godwin Obaseki and his deputy, Right Honorable Philip Shuaibu, for their victory at the just concluded governorship election in Edo State. The election has been generally acclaimed to be peaceful, orderly, and transparent. The people of Edo State have made their choice in a very clear and unambiguous manner. Her loss at the poll stems from the needless and avoidable crisis foisted on the party by a selfish, insensitive, arrogant, and irresponsible leadership. While we begin to take steps to try and salvage the well-being of our party in the state, we call on the governor to be magnanimous in victory, while we urge all those who contested to sheath their swords and put the elections behind us. We must all unclose ranks with the government in order to ensure a seamless transition to the final lap of governance in the state without being subjected to any further needless destruction and rancor. The establishment of a robust infrastructural base to guarantee economic growth at this critical time must be paramount consideration and in the best interest of the good people of Edo State. Signed, Anselm U. Ojezua.
Touch Communications, your best companion in infotainment.
Yeah, welcome back. That was the letter that the APC Edo State signed by its chairman, Anselm U. Ojezua Esquire, released, to the media. Now, there's something I want to bring out, from that letter. And now, let me read a portion of it, and before I get to my analyst. It says, our loss at the poll stems from the needless and avoidable crisis foisted on the party by a selfish, insensitive, arrogant, and irresponsible leadership. Unquote. Now, Mr. Owens, are you there?
Yes, I am, please.
Now, I wanted to, what is your own take on what is your take on this, on the Edo election? The election has come and gone. Now, you've seen what the APC chairman in Edo State, what they released. Now, what is your own take on this? How do you see the election and the aftermath of the election? Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Lucas.
Okay.
Hello, Dr. Lucas. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.
For me, my candid opinion is that the Edo election remains one of the best elections we have ever had in this country. Aside the June 12th election, that is presumed to have been won by MKO Abiola. So for me, it's a standard that has been set. We have other ones that could be compared to that, but were somehow along the way marred by some other issues, challenges, like voters apathy, rigging, and vote buying and thuggery. So by and large, I think basically the Edo election is a victory for democracy, victory for people of Edo State, and then victory for the country, even in the eyes of the international community. That is my opinion about the whole election.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Owens. Mr. Ojeduma, are you there? Mr. Ojeduma, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here and I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, very, very good. Now, you happen to be an indigene of Edo State. I don't know. I know you are based in Texas, in the United States of America. Did you monitor the election in Edo State?
Actually, I did. I can tell you that there are not too many people, especially of Edo origin, that did not follow the election. And you know, that has been made easier today by, you know, the social media, right? So with the social media, you are kept abreast of what is going on. So I did follow up, and I have to agree with you that you know, your analysis was quite spot on. I have to agree with you what you said, that the winner for you was the Yoruba of Benin. I saw the peace meeting when he got them to the palace and he spoke to them. It was very clear what he wanted, and that kind of set the scene. But the other winner, if you ask me, is really the people. The people of Edo State, they spoke. It was very clear what they wanted. They not only came out en masse to vote, they also defended their vote and made sure that, you know, there was no cheating that usually mars elections in Nigeria. So you've seen, I'm sure you've seen a lot of videos of where people were defending their votes, and, you know, where they caught people who were trying to buy votes and things like that. So that showed that the people were really engaged and they really wanted, they wanted to their governor to return. So I think that's very, very important. The other thing that was mentioned was regarding, you know, the party. I think you played an audio clip where someone was mentioning the reason why the party lost. Of course, I mean, if the governor was perceived to be doing a good job, removing him from or disqualifying him from contesting is really it's a political suicide. He's going to win anyway because the people know him, they trust him, they believe in him, they have seen what he's doing, and they will go with him, whatever party he went to. And especially given the timing of when it happened, there was not enough time for the other party to catch up. So the people went with the person that they trusted, and that's why they won. So for me, it's a victory for democracy, it's a victory for the people, and I believe what has happened in Edo State is set the scene for the rest of the nation. I hope it set the scene for the rest of the nation, to start the beginning of a domino effect where we see the end of the godfatherism in Nigeria. That's my take.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ojeduma. Now, let me quickly go back to Mr. Owens. Mr. Owens, now, what do you think the governor should be doing now? Now that he's back to Osadibe's house, and he said he wants to bring in everybody that is ready to work with him. Now, what do you think he should be doing now, Mr. Owens?
Yes. Well, I believe that the governor won on the basis of the good works he's been doing in Edo State. Unify all the people of Edo State, regardless of political affiliation or political party, try to bring everybody on board. And then, of course, begins to look at the next phase of his agenda for the people of Edo State, because that's very paramount. If he gets there this second term, which of course will go for the next 4 years, and if he's unable to perform, that will have been a very big letdown, a very big disappointment to the people of Edo State. So the onus is on him. The to prove and justify the mandate that the good people of Edo State have given to him. So he shouldn't use this period to begin to fight opponents, because in the local media here in Nigeria, we've had stories flying about that the tigers and the lions have been caged, and be that as it may, that is a bygone right now. So he needs to face the reason why he's been elected as the governor of Edo State. So that should be his paramount priority. Places that are either not being covered by him in his last the last regime that will soon expire. He should endeavor to ensure that all the nooks and crannies of Edo State feel the dividend of democracy. That is my take. That's my view on the situation going forward.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Owens. Now, you made mention of the lion and tiger. Now, let's hear the tape. Let's hear the tape before I get back to you guys.
Touch Communications, your best companion in infotainment.
I told the message. The message is, Governor, go and work for us. I am promising you, because you have helped me change the lions and tigers. You will never see the lions and tigers again. Permanently kept them in the zoo now. And therefore we now have the freedom to go and do our work. The government.
Touch Radio, your best companion in infotainment.
Welcome back. Welcome back. That was the voice of Governor of Edo State, Governor Obaseki, saying that the lions and the tigers are now in the zoo. He said you will never see them again. Mr. Ujeduma, are you there with me? Now,
yes, I am.
You heard the voice of your governor saying that the lions, the tigers are now in the zoo. Now, do you think the lions and the tigers, they will not come out of the zoo? Because Oshomola is still there. We've not heard from him. Do you think the lion and the tiger, they will still be tamed, in the zoo? Your take on that?
I have to agree with Mr. Owens here, right? Yes, they may have been caged. Whether they've been caged for a short time or they're going to come back out, time will tell. However, I think the governor should focus more on, building bridges, right? And focus more on inclusive government. The people trusted him. There was division. There's always division during elections. But by the time you win, if you really want to progress, if you really want to move the state forward, if you really want to develop, you need to reach out to the other side and say, well, it was a bitter fight. I have won. But I want to reach out. I want you guys, I need people, I need you all to come together with me so that we can move the state forward. The people that stood behind the governor, they stood behind the governor because they trust him, because they trusted him, and they believed that he would be able to deliver. And they stood behind the governor because they believe he was a better choice. So the only way he can give back to those people, the best way to say thank you to those people is to really deliver. And you cannot possibly deliver if you continue to fight. Yes, like I said, I think they may have been tamed. It may be temporary. We know Nigeria, things happen and it surprises us all. Whether it's temporary or not, what he should really be focusing on is not how he's going to keep the lions and tiger tamed, because really he's no longer in their party. They shouldn't have too much influence on him anymore. He has 4 years to work, and they don't have influence on him anymore. He doesn't have another election to win. So what he really should be focusing on is giving back to the people who really stood behind him en masse to make sure he wins. That's my take.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ojedoma. That the governor should give back to the people that stood behind him to win. That is a laudable one. Now, let's quickly go to the NLC and TUC planned strike for Monday next week, which is 28th of September. Now, you know, the National Industrial Court of Nigeria has restrained NLC and TUC from holding the proposed strike on Monday, the 28th of September, 2020. Now, before we go, let's listen to this tape. Let's listen to this tape before we go and discuss, you know, on the proposed strike.
Right action. The big question is, will the NLC and TUC respect the court order, and shall we strike, or would they go ahead in contravention of the court order? Beyond that, we hope that more negotiations would come over this weekend to avert that strike on Monday. To indeed hurt the Nigerian economy that is already facing a lot of stress. Okay, to our conversation now. Right action. The big question is.
Yeah, that was. I just use that, you know, to whet your appetite. Now, you know, like you all know, the strike is coming up, you know, on Monday, and the National Industrial Court of Nigeria said that strike and the rally should not hold. But I want to go back a little bit so that you can understand, you know, some of the things that, you know, are grieved, you know, the NLC and the TUC for the proposed, you know, strike. Now, I want to listen to Comrade Joseph Ajero. He happens to be the General Secretary, National Union of Electricity Workers. You know, one of the things, you know, that the strike is hinged on is because of the increase, you know, in electric tariff. Electricity tariff. Now let's listen to Mr. Ajero.
The workers are supposed to control 10% shares. Therefore, we're equally owners. And we hear the increase on the air. How do you think that such system could go on? This is about the 5th tariff increase since we started. And each increase does not go with increase even in salaries. To you, the cost of production has to do with machine. Doesn't affect workers. And your regulatory framework does not include whether the person working there is trained, whether he's feeding, whether he has condition of service. And these things are affecting us that each time we see increases, we seem to suspect that the regulatory commission has been hijacked. And I want it to deny this. Because if what you are talking of is profit maximization, you are tailoring towards the owner and not for the interest of the masses. And then you know that there's 40% government ownership of the discos. And you need to inform this house when you declared dividend on government's 40%. You announced before this house that you spend 1.5 trillion plus 40% government ownership. And then you are doing it for the private sector. In a sector you say you have privatized and you have subsidized in trillions. I will only want you to give us information. How much was the tariff before privatization? What was the megawatts being generated before privatization? How much was government spending on electricity before privatization? Let's see whether government was spending up to 200 billion. And now after privatization, we now subsidize with 1.5 trillion. Still government 40% ownership. And we think all is well. And you now have what we call private sector monopoly, which is more dangerous than public sector monopoly. And this thing has continued on and on and on. And I want you to tell us the model where you increase tariff, where you privatize without metering. It's important we get this at this critical point in our history. Because even the India model you adopted, you can go.
Touch Radio, your best companion in infotainment.
That was the voice of Comrade Joseph Ajero, the General Secretary, National Union of Electricity workers. You are still watching and listening to Straight Talk on www.touchradio.com.ng. We are streaming live at Touch Communications. Now, let's look at the NLC, part of the strike. The NLC president, Comrade Ayuba Waba, he too insists that you must return to the old prices. And like yesterday, the NLC and in fact today, NLC and TUC they shunned court order, restraining her from holding these strike actions. Now let us listen to Ayuba Waba before I go to my analyst.
An organization, this is one issue that had been reoccurring for many, many years. I think what is the only difference at this point in time is the COVID-19. And let me also share with you that at the level of NLC, we have done many publications interrogating this issue, using the information provided by government, and also putting across options that will be pro-people and also will be able to address the issue. In fact, I will be sharing one of the documents with you, the report on the regulation, which I shared with the former Minister of State for Petroleum when this issue came up. First, sir, the fundamental reason underpinning PSM subsidy is the fact that wholly we import what we consume. And because of this, what also make up the price includes issues like taxes, issues like insurance, issues like freight, which if we are refining, will have actually made the price to come down. This is one issue we need to deal with. And this is one issue that I think government must summon the courage once and for all to address this issue. And we have provided a lot of information for that to be addressed. Because the figure you gave us, 161, we don't even know what constitutes the 151. And I'm sure that part of what I've actually read out also constitutes what constitutes the price. And therefore, we have said time with that number, that those issues that constitute the price is part of the inefficiency in our system, which government hitherto have been paying and christening as subsidy. And what we are merely doing now is to transfer those payments of inefficiency to consumers, which consumers now will pay, but we have not addressed the issue. So fundamentally, what is required
Welcome back. Yeah, that was the voice of the NLC President, Comrade Ayuba Waba. Now, Mr. Osaiti Ojeduma, are you there? Now, I've been listening to these two men, Comrade Joseph Ajeru and the NLC President. Do you think this the proposed strike for Monday, September 28th, is justifiable? Do you think that strike is justifiable?
Well, I think it will be difficult for me to say whether it's justifiable or not. I mean, both parties, they have a point, they want to make a point. Now, the workers, they have the right, I believe, to make a point. The reason why strikes happen is when there has been no communication or limited communication about what they were intending to do. In the past, I believe what the government do when they want to make these kind of changes that impact people, that impact the economy, they will normally reach out to the various bodies. In this case, whether it's the National Union of Teachers or NLC or all the other labor leaders, to say we are about to make some changes to the economy. In this case, we're about to remove subsidy or remove part of the subsidy, which means you're going to have to pay more for gasoline and kerosene and all the other things. Let's talk. And if they have that conversation, then the workers will be able to table their own request. Normally they would say, for that to happen, we will need you to give us something. And then when the negotiation happens, sometimes they have an agreement, sometimes they don't. But in this case, I don't know. I cannot tell if they actually reached out to the stakeholders to say, this is the reason why we want to increase, and this is what we are going to do for you to ameliorate, part of, the impact. I know not too long ago, they were battling over, what the minimum wage was going to be. I know how difficult it is for even states to meet up for now. So for the government now to bring more cost into the system, it's seen as more hardship to the people, and naturally want to protest. So, and I believe they have the right to come out to say, we want to protest or we want to go on strike. Now, how should the government approach this? I do believe that the government need to say, well, no government really wants strikes, right? Because it kind of cripples the economy and they lose more. I think what they should do is to open up a channel for communication, to negotiate and to talk, to say, okay, this is what we're planning. This is how the economy, what we make from the savings we make from this subsidy, this is how we're going to spend it, and this is how it's going to affect you positively. I believe when that kind of conversation happens, then there will be a good way forward that both sides can see. But to just sit back and say, you should not go on strike, you should not protest, I don't think that's the best approach.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ojeduma. Now, Mr. Owens, you are in Nigeria here, and I know you have been following the trend of of events, meeting in and out, the labor and the government. Now, the strike is, we are looking at Monday. Now, what do you think the party, both parties, do you think they can still reconcile before Monday? Because now that the court, the industrial court said they should not go ahead with that strike. Now, what do you think what do you think the labor unions, should be doing now?
Well, for the labor union, first and foremost, I would like to say that the discussions are broken down, is deadlocked. And it's, I think, one of the reasons government had to use the instrument of the court to stop this strike action by the organized labor unions. But then the labor organizations have the right to protest, have the right to strike. And like Mr. Ojedme said, if certain things are not put in place, and there are breach of trust here and there over certain issues, including governance, it is very likely that you will see people protest. And it's not a new thing. I'm sure all across several cities of the world, you hear of protests every now and then. Some are based on political issues, some are based on social issues, some are based on economic issues. You have protests that goes on in Western world for days, like the case of Belarusia. Okay, so the right to protest is there. Government going to court to get the court to issue an injunction restraining the labor unions not to go on strike. Well, it's also a right and entitlement, but at the same time, the court, granted the prayers of the government. But at the same time, the labor unions are saying that whether there is an industrial court instruction or directive for the labor unions to suspend their strike, they will still go on that strike, okay, which is a right as a matter of fact. So I think the unions and government should still get together and iron things out. Let the government look at what the unions want, because let me quickly just say this. You see, for whatever the unions are fighting for, it is for the good of Nigeria.
Okay.
Whatever government, intends to do is also for the good of Nigeria. However, there must be a meeting point. There must be a middle ground. I can tell you for free. Yes. I can tell you for free that the middle ground is the palliative. Do we have palliative in place? If we have palliative on ground as we speak, nobody will go on protest, on strike. That's the bitter truth. Nobody, I repeat.
Yeah. Mr. Owens, thank you very much. Your points are taken. Now, like I always say, we don't have time on this program. Time has never been our friend on this program. We just have less than 2 minutes, and we need sponsorship so that we can extend our time. So if you are watching us any part of Nigeria or any part of the world, and you think you can key in, you can sponsor this program, even if it is 15 minutes or 30 minutes, you are welcome. Just get it across to my producer, and you are in. Now, before we sign out this evening, I just want us to just a minute, to my guests, 1 minute each. Now, Mr. Ojeduma, actually, this is supposed to be a topic we really need to discuss extensively. Maybe we might look at it next week. I don't know. Maybe I might still drag you back to this program next week. I wanted us to look at the impact of COVID-19 on Nigerians in the diaspora. Actually, I was expecting a lady from Turkey, Becky from Turkey, and she's not joining us. I don't know the reason why, but my producer is telling me that we should just round up. Now, Mr. Ojeduma, just in 30 seconds, because we are out of time. I'm dragging you back next time. Now, what do you just have to say? What do you have to say about the impact of COVID? Just 30 seconds.
No, I think you're right. I mean, 2 minutes will not do it justice. 30 seconds will not do it justice. However, I think the impact we have seen Nigerians in diaspora is not too different from what we see back in Nigeria. It depends on what level you are, whether you're middle class. Speaking specifically about the United States, depends on the kind of job you're doing. For example, if we want to talk about the economic impact.
Okay. My producer said our time is up. Now, Mr. Ojeduma, please, I'm begging you. I want to give me your word that next week you'll be back on the program, please.
Okay, no problem. Let's talk about that offline.
Thank you very much, right. Mr. Owens. Okay. Your parting shot, just 15 seconds. I know you will be here next week, by the special grace of God. Now, 15 seconds. What's your parting shot?
My parting shot, if it's on COVID-19, is that the deed has been done, and Nigerians should adjust to the new normal, of doing things, and that's just the way forward. But I think we will have to discuss this same issue in details, probably in any of your subsequent editions.
By the grace of God, we'll do that next week. Thank you very much, our viewers. Thank you for watching Straight Talk this week. I want to thank my producer Olua Mishon, the production assistants, Ayo Mide. Let's do it again next week by the special grace of God. My name is David Lucas. So long.
Touch Radio, your best companion in infotainment.
Lately, when we see them, they talk about change. They say it is their turn now to be leaders of the people. Tell them I've been there many, many times before, and no one can trick me with honey mouth again. Lately, when we meet them, they flex their muscles up. They talk about bravery and courage never seen.